Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of World Talks here on TVP World. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee, and please join me and my guest on this next interview. Now, Poland's legal and political landscape is currently captivated by the impending court decision regarding the potential arrest of former Justice Minister Zbigniew Ziobro. Now, this development stems from allegations of misuse of state funds and persistent non-compliance with investigative proceedings. Joining us today on TVP World to provide expert analysis is Jowanka Jakubek-Lalik, Associate Professor at the Faculty of Law and Administration at the University of Warsaw. With extensive expertise in public law, European Union law, and public administration reforms, Professor Jakubek-Lalik offers us a look into the intricacies involved in this case. Hello, ma'am, and welcome to TVP World.
My pleasure, thank you.
So first, if you can help us understand what are some of these legal grounds upon which the motion to arrest a former Justice Minister has been filed.
Mr. Zbigniew Ziobro is the former Minister of Justice of the former government, and he was summoned as a witness in front of the parliamentary committee, and he failed to appear in front of the committee as a witness for 5 consecutive times, which means that he is showing disregard for the procedures, for the law, and for the committee, and this is why the committee decided to take action and to claim to appeal to the court to arrest him in order to make him appear to the hearing.
So do you think that his former role as Justice Minister as well as the Prosecutor General is going to have influence on the current legal proceedings against him?
It should not have any influence because he should be treated as every citizen, or even, let's say, we should expect more from him as being the former Minister of Justice and former General Prosecutioner and former member of European Parliament, current member of Polish Parliament. So from this kind of people, from public figures, we should expect really holding very high standards. Unfortunately, this is not the case, and as even in the Polish Constitution, we have principles that no one is above the law and everybody should respect the law. This is why the procedure needs to be brought to an end in favor of the law to be taken seriously by all of the people living in this country.
All right, speaking of the Constitution, there's also something that I'm hoping that you can help us clarify, because there have been mentions of the Constitution Tribunal ruling some aspect of a committee's action as unconstitutional. How does this really impact the legitimacy of the current proceedings?
Well, it does not impact the legitimacy because this ruling of the Constitutional Tribunal is actually not in line with their competences, and the parliamentary committee does not have any challenges, let's say, when it comes to their legal grounds of work. So this is a normal procedure that the parliament can have this kind of investigative committees, and these committees have the right to summon witnesses in order to investigate specific serious cases where we can think about potential breaching of the law and also some other salient issues, let's say, which are very important to the Polish politics.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned something about, well, of course, like you mentioned, no one is above the law, but a lot of critics are also arguing that the action against Ziobro are politically motivated. Can you help us understand from a legal standpoint, how can the judiciary ensure impartiality in a very high-profile case involving a very prominent political figure?
Every time when we have this, let's say, discussions or even conflicts between the ruling party and the opposition, we can say, or somebody can claim, that there might be some political motivation. However, in the country which is governed by rule of law, the courts are impartial, and the judges in the court should make an impartial decision about the legal aspects of the case. And here in this case, we cannot speak about political motivation, because the motivation is to bring to justice and also to explain, to investigate what happened during the previous government when it comes to potential breaches of the law. Mm-hmm. So here again, all the rules, all the procedures should be respected, both in terms of how the parliament works, how the criminal procedures work, how the criminal code and penal code works. So this is again in accordance with all these laws and proceedings, and this is how it should be proceed.
Right, so the big point of contention here is actually the fact that he is not showing up for these investigative committees. But before that, can you also give us a little bit of background for what he's being summoned for, especially when it comes to this Justice Fund and the whole kind of Pegasus scandal that he was supposedly involved in?
Well, there are two serious allegations against him, or even accusations against him, when it comes to his term in office as Minister of Justice and Prosecutor General. So the first is the Justice Fund, which was a fund that was supposed to protect the victims of crimes, and it should also assist them in their specific circumstances. The second is using the Pegasus system, which is the system which can be installed on, for example, mobile phones and other devices, that is actually spying on people, and that was used illegally against the members of Polish opposition at that time. So these are very serious accusations, and Minister Ziobro, as the person who was in charge for many years for the justice system in Poland, he should explain his actions, and also when the impartial court will decide that his actions were not in accordance with the law, that also should result in the finalization of this procedure.
So like I said, these are very strong accusations that has
Indeed.
a very big political impact, as well as how these funds are distributed and the use of this spyware. Have the former Justice Minister cited any reasons as of why he does not want to show up for the committee?
Well, unfortunately, the former Justice Minister is showing his disregard to the institutions of the current parliament, and he openly said he questioned the legality of the work of this investigative committee, and he is, of course, defending all his actions as they were, in his view, purely legal. But also, what we need to understand and highlight here is that every activity which is overused or abusing power by any politician from any party should be brought to justice, also to prevent them from happening in the future. So this is very important to really conclude these proceedings, and also to show that the state institutions are strong, they are legitimate, and nobody can question their legitimacy and just avoid being part of the proceedings, which are based on the law.
Right. Is there any attempt at clearing his name in any other way, shape, or form, and even if it's perhaps not this kind of in a more legal manner?
Well, he's like every citizen of the country. He should be able to use all the procedural aspects to clear his name, if that is the case. All these legal guarantees, of course, appeal to him, as all the other members of the public. And again, here, as a politician, as a public figure, he should pay special attention to his reputation and special attention to how he behaves in front of the public authorities of the government and the parliament, the public institutions.
Right, so we're actually seeing a situation where the court's been trying to summon the former Justice Minister, and he doesn't want to really show up, which again perhaps conflicts with how the rule of law works. So looking ahead, what kind of potential outcome can we anticipate from this court decision on the arrest, and how is that gonna go forward?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, the judge would need to decide if the former Minister Ziobro should be arrested or not, because of course arrest is the most severe measure that could be taken by the court against the person who is not showing up to as a witness. However, the procedure is not going to be very fast because this person can still appeal to the second instance, so Court of Appeal, if he feels that his rights are violated and he does not agree with the court decision. So this decision does not have immediate effect. effect. So even if the court will decide, and we don't know about that still, even if the court decides that he should be arrested, still it will take probably several more weeks for the court of the second instance to decide on the appeal, and this is not going to happen very, very fast.
All right, so we'll have to keep an eye out on how this story develops. But in the meantime, thank you for getting us caught up and really appreciate it. Thanks for being with us on TVP World.
Thank you.
Cheers. And thank you for tuning into this edition of World Talks. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.